Okay, I am here to present my final examination for this class. And in the directions, it stated that we could use a problem for our focus statement, so I decided to do that. So I decided to do a student in my class is having trouble finding ideas to write about and struggling to communicate ideas clearly. So I use this problem to take the strategies that I learned in this class and throughout our readings to kind of create a few guidelines as what I can use as a teacher in my classroom if this was a problem. So this is the first strategy that I chose, but I just wanted to make clear that all the strategies that I have I chose because as a teacher, I need to make sure that I model all of the strategies. So it kind of goes along with this strategy number 9, which is use think alouds and modeling. So not only this strategy that I would use in my classroom, but all the strategies that I put in this presentation, I would need to model for my students so they can understand how to use them and how it will best help them with their studies. So strategy number 9, use think alouds and modeling. It talks about ideas and how they're a lot easier when writing ideas down on paper. So talking about things is a lot easier for ELLs because they're probably not proficient at this time in writing things down and handwriting and understanding. So I feel like thinking out loud and telling me their thoughts will help them get ideas and start on their projects and assignments in class. And models, outlines, graphic organizers, maps, charts, etc. need to be modeled to students. They need to know how to use them. So these different strategies using outlines and graphic organizers and maps and charts and stuff like that will help them immensely, but they need to know how to use them and how it will help them in the long run. So sometimes, writing things down isn't going to be the best idea for them or the best strategy. So using these different models and stuff like that will help them get their ideas down on paper. Strategy 49, use think, pair, share. I use this in my classroom a lot. And I think this can lessen the anxiety of students, especially ELLs, because, they're really nervous. They don't know the language very well. So they're kind of anxious getting up in front of the class and telling other people, their ideas and what they think. So this is a great way to have them, talk to a student one-on-one or in a small group instead of in front of the whole class. This strategy can also be paired with think, write, pair, share. So once they get more advanced and they are into writing, this will help them further because they can talk with their partners or in a small group and they can write down their ideas and get more ideas and write them down instead of just talking and verbally expressing how they feel. This strategy offers ELLs the opportunity to negotiate their conceptual understanding throughout interaction with peers. So I got this straight from our reading in the 120 Strategies book. So this is a great way to help students, especially if they don't really have any ideas for assignments. So if I pair them up or put them into a small group, they're able to talk with their partners and get an idea of how to start a certain activity that we're doing. So they can do that and they're able to, talk back and forth to see maybe if they already have an idea, they can tell their partner or group member, okay, this is what I want to do. Do you think I should change it up or do you think it's a good idea? And like I said before, they can talk with a student or small group to help with ideas on their writing. So this is a great way to just get, ideas and feedback from other people, except for, going up in front of the whole class and doing it one by one. This aligns with standard number 1 underneath the ELL standards for New York State. Students will listen, speak, and write in English for information and understanding. That would be standard 1. And then number 6 under standard 1 is formulate and share opinions about information and ideas with reference to features in oral and written text such as details and facts. So this is time where they can find what they need to talk about and they have ideas, and now they're going to go back and they're going to talk with their partners about it. Strategy 86, offer models and outlines. So outlines and models are pages for them to follow in class and on assignments, and oftentimes they start at the beginning of the sentence and they need to fill in the blanks. So this is something that we would hand out during class or for their homework. It would kind of be like a model of something, or like an outline, I should say, of notes or maybe research projects. We would start the information for them. So we would have the sentence already for them, and they would just need to fill in the blanks of the information they found. So this way they can really focus on the information that they have instead of worrying about how to start the sentence and the information that they need to write down. So depending on how advanced they are, there are different levels of outlines and models teachers can use. So like if they're a beginner, it would be more in depth. So they would really only have to put 1 or 2 words in to the blanks depending on where they are. And then as they go further and learn more English, there would be less words to have to put down on the page for them. So they would kind of just be discussion starters, and then they can start writing complete sentences. And these can be used for all subjects depending on if it's math, vocabulary, or social studies, notes maybe, or, like a science project, that kind of thing. Strategy 90 use diagrams, maps, and charts as assignments. I believe this is the last strategy that I chose, although I have many that could have been used for this. So owls might have a hard time explaining the information they know in words, which obviously is a huge deal because, they're coming into your classroom. Maybe, depending on what grade you are, they could potentially be have not learned any English before. So this is a way for them to be able to express their ideas and to talk to you. So like drawing pictures, diagrams, maps, charts, that kind of thing. They're going to be able to draw and explain it, in words, using diagrams and pictures and stuff like that, more than they could writing things in sentences and paragraphs and stuff like that. So they can convey the information they have by using diagrams, maps, and charts, etc. So like I said, instead of writing things down, they're going to use these different strategies and tools. They could also help students when looking for information. So if you have like a research project that you're giving to your class and the student needs to look up different things, this is a way that they can look up information instead of looking at a textbook or an article and reading things. They can go and look at their diagrams and their charts and maps to find information from there. And this also connects with standard number 1 for the ELL standards for New York State. And number 2 says, read, gather, view, listen to, organize, discuss, and interpret information related to academic content areas from various sources. Such sources include reference books, magazines, textbooks, the internet, audio and media presentations, oral interviews, charts, graphs, maps, and diagrams. So this is saying that, there's various different sources that you can use for your studies and what you need to find. So if different resources and stuff like that you can use. So depending on how far along the student is. So like I said before, they could potentially not have learned any English before, or they could be farther along if they came into the school a few years earlier. So it really depends on all of these strategies where your students are at. But you also need to make sure when you're using these that you have used prior information and prior assessments to figure out where your student is at the time. You don't want to put them on a level that is a beginner level when they have, been more advanced for a few years. And you also don't want to give them, an intermediate level when they have just started learning English. So, as teachers, we need to really make sure that when we use these strategies, we're paying attention to what works best for our students instead of, just throwing different things out there and having them do it. We need to make sure that we are on their level at all times to make sure that we are helping them learn as best as possible. We don't want them to fall back at all. We want them to keep striving and moving forward. And here's my reference page. I will just let this sit here for a few seconds. And if you need a copy of this, I will be happy to email to you.